Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl, and today I'm going to be just talking about tip ups and how they work and how I use them when I fish here in the Northeast. So I'm from Massachusetts, and I primarily use tip ups to ice fish. So there are a few different styles of tip ups. These are the styles that I have. This is actually my stepdaughter's, and she decided she wanted teal and pink, so that's what we did. So I'm just going to show you guys how to set it up, how it works, and then I have some footage also of how we are going to sound the holes and set them up on the ice. So the first thing that you want to do with the tip up, and you want to just be very mindful of these little wing nuts here, and just how flexible or not flexible the screws are, and not bending it the wrong way, because you could potentially damage the hardware down here at the bottom. So to set up your tip up, you're going to open it up like that. I'll back up a little bit, and then open, see if it gets a little sticky on which way you open it. So you want it to look like a T, because this is the part, if you imagine that my hand is where the top of the ice is, this is the part that's going to sit on top. Your flag, or as we call it in our family, your popper, gets pulled up here. And this is just usually held in with some small staples. So you just pull it up until it's at the point of resistance to where it will stand up. And then you get to the spool. So there's a really important thing here that we use with our spools, and that are these buttons. And I'll get into that a little bit later, but basically the button is for us to set the depth based on where we're fishing. I typically like to fish a couple of feet off of the bottom of a body of water. If not, then directly under the ice. And sometimes that changes with just where we're fishing and how deep it is, and other times that changes for species. I sometimes have better luck catching trout, for example, under the ice than I do off the bottom. So our setup here on the bottom is I have a size 6 hook with what my dad always refers to as jewelry. So I have a little spoon here and some beads. I bought these on these leaders, but you could easily make them with different color beads or different size hooks, however you'd like. And then we have our swivel here. So something with these leaders, these are typically for panfish or smaller fish, trout, perch. We catch pickerel on them, but the teeth, they do snap them off. If I'm going for something like pike or muskie, then I'm going to use a steel leader. So just something to be mindful of. But for what we're typically fishing for, where I'm fishing here, these are great. And they come in packs of 6, and so really easy. You have your swivel. If you break one off, you just slip right one on. And then you have your button. So the mechanism of the spool, people don't always understand how a tip up actually works, what makes it go off. So you take your flag, and it gets attached right down here, right? And this is typically, again, imagining my hand as the ice line, this is typically what it's going to look like in the water. On the spool side, you have, flip it around, this lever here. And when this little mechanism reaches that, when the fish bites, it's going to twist this, and that is going to release your flag, or in this case, our popper. So you can imagine that your tip is set, you have bait on it, you've sounded your hole, you're sitting it in the water right here, and the fish comes up and they take your bait, pull the spool, and your popper will pop up. And then hopefully you see it like this from across the ice. So next, we're going to look at how to sound the hole and then see what it looks like on the ice.
So here you can see I'm clipping on the sounder and dropping it into the hole. I am moving the button up the line as I go, because that button is keeping track of our depth. And then you'll see me drop it in. I'll find that we are actually at the bottom, right there. Move the button down to the water line, and then about 2 feet up, so we are fishing off the bottom. And now that we've sounded the hole, we can bait our hook and set up our tip up. So you're gonna see I have a shiner here hooked through the back so that it can swim around, and he's gonna go down. This was about 5 feet, I believe, of line we were fishing. You see the button there on the spool. That's how you know where to reel it up to every single time. You just reel it up to the button. And then, yeah, that's about it. And at the end of this clip, you'll see the final setup of our tip up on the ice.